All right, I'm going to go over just a couple of the problems from the Pythagorean identity homework. The Pythagorean identity we talked about in this lesson was the sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. Instead of x's, if you want to write the theta symbol, that's fine too. Really, you can use any variable you want, but 99% of the time you'll either see theta or you'll see x in those positions. All right, so let's do one of these problems that involve the Pythagorean identity, sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. So number 3. So I've left it off this handout, but cosine of x should equal 3/4. So we're going to use the formula sine squared, I'm going to abbreviate it, plus cosine squared equals 1. We're trying to find sine. So that's going to be my unknown. I'm going to use y since sine refers to the y coordinate. We know what cosine is. So we're going to substitute 3/4 in for cosine of x squared and then equal 1. And then it's just a matter of solving this equation. Square 3/4. Subtract 9/16 from both sides, and you get 7/16. Now, our last step is we are going to square root both sides. And if you remember from the quadratics unit, when you square root both sides, you get a plus, positive, and negative answer. But since we're in the fourth quadrant, we know in the fourth quadrant, x is positive and y is negative. So that means we're only going to look at the negative answer when we take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to do the work right here. But when I square root both sides, I end up with y equals negative. And I'll write it each number underneath its own square root. And the reason I do this is because 16 is a perfect square, but 7 is not. You can have a radical at the top of a fraction, so that is our simplified form. And then this last one wants us to find the value of tangent of x. Again, we don't know what x is. We can't use the unit circle because these fractions are not familiar fractions from the unit circle. They're not 1/2 or radical 3/2. But we know the formula for tangent is y divided by x. So to find the tangent, we're going to take the y value, which is negative radical 7 divided by 4. And divide it by the x value, which I believe was 3/4. Yep. And to divide a fraction by a fraction, we multiply the top fraction by the reciprocal of the bottom. Luckily, this one simplifies pretty quickly. The 4's cancel, and we're left with negative radical 7 divided by 3.